to my channel. How's it going? For those of you who are new, I'm Maria Peterson, and today is Meal Prep Monday, although it's not Monday for me. I have some easy, budget-friendly meals for this week. I shopped my freezer and my pantry, and that was my goal, was to not spend much at all to make my meal preps. Now, to be fair, I had kind of random things that were frozen, like butternut squash, and so that is what I'm working in to my meals. And I concede that a lot of people probably don't have butternut squash frozen in their freezer. But my goal was to shop my freezer and make meals out of what I already had. So that is what I'm trying to model. I just had to get a few like fresh produce items from the store, but other than that, everything that I have is from my freezer, so I didn't really need to do much shopping at all. I have a meatless option and a meat option, so I'm gonna do tofu, and I'm also going to do chicken sausage. So they're going to be hearty and delicious, and I'm actually really excited for the flavor profiles that I picked out. What I did was I looked in my freezer, saw what I had, and then I just went on Pinterest and tried to find things that kind of sparked ideas, and I'm gonna make it work. So that is what I am doing for my meal prep this week. Budget friendly and hopefully quick and simple. I think it will be. So yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. And I just have a couple of fresh produce items that I need to wash, and I've restocked our strawberries. I'm gonna need to prep those. But other than that, the whole focus is on the meal preps. So that's gonna be everything. If you're new here, welcome. I'm really excited that you're here. And don't forget to click that like and subscribe button so you can keep getting these kinds of videos. And I think I'm just gonna get started. Let's go. Okay, here's my grocery haul. We were running low on cheese, so we got cheese. I need cream cheese and tomatoes. I'm going to do a crock pot meal for dinner tonight because I'm going to be cooking in the kitchen all day. Well, hopefully not all day. It should be a quick meal prep, but I didn't want to bother with dinner, so I'm going to do one that we've done a number of times, and that is the feta and tomato crock pot pasta. I've made it, I think, once or twice on one of my videos, or a couple of my videos, so I'm going to do that. We needed some butter and the tomatoes for that. I needed green onion, all of these guys for the meal preps, along with just some bell pepper. Then zucchini. I'm a big fan of zucchini. I really love barbecued zucchini, roasted zucchini, air fried zucchini, zucchini cake, zucchini bread, zucchini pie. If it's zucchini, I'm gonna like it. So I bought a little bit more than I needed, but I'll roast them up for the week too. And then of course we needed strawberries because my kids love them and I love them. And our bushes are producing quite a bit, but not enough to satisfy our needs. And they're really affordable right now. So then the only other thing I got was sesame oil. So that is everything I got at the grocery store for the meals that I'm making today. It was a kind of short and sweet trip, and then I'm gonna get out the stuff that I pulled from my freezer for the meals, and we'll talk about those. Okay, here we go. This is what I had. I believe I cut this up and froze it in a video a couple of months ago, and I need to use it up. So I'm going to roast it and hope that I can get some kind of roast out of it, and I might air fry it. I feel like that might be the better option. Some frozen cauliflower rice. That'll be quick and easy. You won't have to cook anything or cut anything. Tofu. I have used tofu, like frozen tofu before. It changes the texture when you freeze it, and it gives it kind of more of a heartier texture. I just said texture a lot, sorry. So that'll be good, and it's already, I pulled it out yesterday. And what's nice about the frozen one is you don't have to spend as much time squeezing all the water out. So we're gonna have that. And then these I actually bought last week for my meal prep, and I threw them in the freezer because I ended up having more turkey than I had anticipated. So I just pulled them out, and I'm gonna work them in for our, it's a sausage and vegetable roast. It called for like pork sausage, but we're gonna go with chicken sausage, and the pineapple bacon is my favorite. So that is what I pulled out of my freezer. So like my main proteins I already had, and some of my veg I already had. Produce is, a lot of this stuff is coming into season, so it's a lot more inexpensive. So I'm just kind of taking advantage of that and trying to make it more budget friendly this week. So fingers crossed it works. But now I'm gonna get the produce cleaned, get the crock pot going, and get going on the meals. Let's go. Added a recipe in. I wanted a breakfasty, snacky treat kind of thing, and I had these frozen blueberries in my freezer and all the other ingredients I needed to make. It's called a high protein blueberry oatmeal bake. I've got my oven preheating. I've already got dinner going in the crock pot. I've made it before. I'll link the video that I make it in if you're interested in seeing that. But I'm gonna throw this together really quick and then get to chopping all of my sausage and tofu. Yes, okay. Okay, so these are ingredients that I typically have in my house. So if this turns out good, I'm probably gonna make it more often. I'm hoping it, I mean, I don't think anybody makes recipes and they're like, I hope it turns out bad. Unless it's like a recipe, like you're making something out of spite. But I always have oatmeal, I always have yogurt. Like, it's just a really simple recipe, but I haven't tried it yet, so we'll see. Right, Alice? We'll see. One thing that I make like a big effort to do is clean up as I go. Otherwise, I get really overwhelmed by all of the mess, and it kind of becomes demotivating to do it every week. Because even before I was doing like full-on meal preps, I was still prepping like all of my produce and like making bulk meats and stuff once a week. And on the days where I was like really trying to just rush through and get it all done, and I wasn't also like doing the dishes as I went, it was just a big pain. So I make sure the kitchen is already like pre-cleaned before I start, and I clean as much as I can as I go so that by the time I'm done, I can just be done. And the last few times I prepped enough like meats for dinners, but I still had to like put dinner together. And so this is like 50% of the way type action that I'm doing back there with the crock pot. I can just throw some pasta in a pot and cook it. I could even use my Instant Pot, which would be even faster than like boiling and waiting. In fact, I might do that. But I just thought I already had feta in my fridge from last week left over, and the tomatoes were inexpensive. Like, I didn't need to get a lot to make a full dinner. I already had spinach in the fridge. I already had all of these things that I like to keep stocked that I got last week. And sometimes I get in the habit of just kind of going through and thinking, well, I don't need that, but what else could I get? And I end up spending more than I need to, or just ending up having way more food than is like necessary. And so I've been trying to change my mindset and like not be afraid to use the things that I've stored. Because I really enjoyed canning for a while, but I got in my head about it and was like, well, no, I just went through all the trouble to have all of this food storage, like back stock, so that like if something were to happen, we would have it. But then I was like afraid to use it and rotate it, and so it would go bad. So I was actually talking to my husband about it yesterday and just like, I need to just use the food we have. I'm being ridiculous not using our food. So this is me trying to just use what I have. I'm trying to change my habits a little bit. I like prepping it, or like prepping the food, having it ready to go, and having stuff in my pantry. But it's not doing me a lot of good if I'm not using it, which seems very obvious, but it's not always the case with me, so I'm making an effort. Follow the recipe on this one, but I am going to spread it out a lot on multiple pans just because I know that it's going to produce a lot of moisture and I don't want it to just steam everything. I want everything to get kind of roasted. So fingers crossed. Have the exact sausages the recipe calls for, I'm just trying to make it work. Like the recipe calls for 4 sausage links that you mix in and pull out, put all of the veggies down, and then lay the links on top, and you roast until they're cooked through. But because these sausages are already cooked, I really only have to keep going until the vegetables are done, which is kind of nice. Like I don't have to check the doneness the sausage or anything. So pros and cons, I guess. I am though going to separate it so it's not all in one pan so that the vegetables aren't stuck together too much, so we don't end up steaming them more than roasting them. And I typically turn the broiler on anyways at the end of a vegetable roast just to get it a little bit more crispy, but the recipe does call for that. So hopefully we'll get a little bit of crispiness on it, but we'll see. Again, it's a gamble. Like I'm trying to adapt it and make it work with what I already have. And even now, it's still gonna be kind of a packed situation on these pans, but once it's all said and done, as long as it tastes good, then it's fine. It's still worth taking the time. And I've never had the recipe before, so even if it doesn't turn out how the recipe was intended to turn out, I'm not gonna know the difference. So I just need a vehicle for vegetables and protein. Okay, so this recipe, I forgot to show you the syrup. I feel like if you were to go back and watch all of my food videos, anytime I like do a shot of all the ingredients, I'm always missing at least one thing. And I am missing the maple syrup, so I'm gonna go get that. Okay, so it calls for garlic cloves and ginger knobs. Ginger knobs. It's funny. But I don't wanna deal with that. And I love these Doric cubes. I get them at Trader Joe's in their freezer section where like the vegetables and fruit are. And they're very convenient. So I'm gonna use these instead. And I'm gonna make the sauce for the tofu. Tofu did not yield as much as in my head it would. So I am going to bulk it up with some rice. I bought these with my last grocery haul, and I'm glad I did because I have them. They're very easy to make. And I have so much sausage and vegetable that I am going to mix the rice and the cauliflower rice with the tofu, and I'm not going to add another thing with the vegetables and sausage. I'm just gonna put some crackers in there and maybe a little bit of fruit, just because there's already enough there that I'm not worried about volume or satiation with that one. So I'm going to cook up this bag of rice. I'm going to use this in addition to the cauliflower rice and the tofu, and that will be the peanut sauce tofu meal, and you'll see it come together when I put everything together. Pretty good. It's missing a little bit of a depth of flavor, but that might just be me. It is really good though, and I will probably make it again. And then just a little peek. I've made this before, but here's where dinner's at right now. This has been cooking the whole time I have been cooking. And I'm looking forward to not having to do much for dinner tonight. Okay friends, that is everything. I'm actually really pleased with how it all turned out. I even have enough leftovers for like Dino Buddies night for my kids. There's stuff in there that Connor and I can have, and I don't have to think. So I think it worked out really well. I was a little bummed about the tofu, but that was probably a me thing. And I did kind of make both of the recipes my own. I did not follow them to the T, but I feel like if you watched my videos enough, you know that that is a trend for me. I don't stick to recipes very well, but I adapt them to how I like them. So I liked how this turned out, and that's what matters. That is everything. I've got meals for the week, for lunches and dinner now. Dinner is almost done in the crock pot, so I don't need to think tonight. And my kitchen, I'll show you. My kitchen is pretty clean because I've been cleaning as I go. So, not bad at all. So other than that, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for joining me. I hope you got some good ideas for meal prep, or at least some motivation to kind of put things together to make your life easier. It's a little bit of a sacrifice of time initially, but it saves a lot of time in the long run and a lot of thinking, honestly, which I appreciate. So don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you next time.